Hey guys, Rodrigo here with another episode of Asheville Real Estate News. Really excited today for the conversation we had with Bret Frk, who's he's one of the buyer agents for Broker Asheville. And we sat down to kind of recap the Keller Williams family reunion. Whether you're a KW agent or not, my guess is that you're still going to get a lot of value out of the conversation. They have a really good pulse on what's going on. And if you haven't been following along, they're almost like kind of a technology company that does real estate versus the other way around. So tune on in. We talk about some of the technology, where the market is, and some tips for prospective buyers on how to, get started on the house hunt. So let us know what you think. Share with your friends. And as always, please give us a rating and a review. Bye. Hey, Bret, thanks for joining us today. Welcome.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really excited to chat. I know you were at the Keller Williams family reunion, and I've never been, from what I heard, it's kind of one of the major pieces of gatherings here in the real estate sector in the U.S. So excited to hear what you picked up and any nuggets you might be willing to share.
Whew. It was
Where to start?
I think this is my fourth family reunion, and by far the most beneficial. Yeah. 18,000 people in one room.
Wow.
Megatron screens. It's like an Apple tech launch. It's the
energy just
sound
must have been.
And energy. Yeah. And people from all over the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For all of our market centers from across the country, there's 5 new international market centers opening up this year.
Wow, very cool.
So all of that energy and just surrounding yourself with people that are of a great mindset and market leaders and industry leaders, you just get so much information. It's
information overload.
Yeah, it's overload. Totally.
Yeah. Well, I obviously want to dig into that and kind of get some takeaways. But before we even get there, do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and how you got to what you're doing today and how long you've been in Asheville, unless you're a Nashville native?
Oh, no. So I've been in Asheville 20 years.
Okay.
I started my career in the urban design and land planning sector. Grew up in Ohio.
Okay.
Went to college and university in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And the co-op program took me all over the country doing, with architecture design firms. And that led me to Denver. And then after Denver, they said, hey, we're doing a lot of planning for the Biltmore Estate. We did the village plan for the Biltmore Estate, some ski resorts, and a lot of second home developments kind of in the Jackson County, Tom's Estate here in town. So before the crash, we had a lot of business.
It was busy, huh?
Yeah, it was busy. And then so 2007, I went on a sabbatical to Patagonia for 3 months. That was part of my fringe benefits.
So can we take a quick detour down there?
Yeah.
Can you share a couple of that's one of the dream trips I've had, is to go spend extended amount of time down in Patagonia.
Oh,
so,
sure.
I don't know, one or two highlights of the time down there.
Yeah. So I did. I actually went on a Knowles trip.
Okay, cool.
And it was great because you were in the wilderness, you did fly fishing, you got to experience the culture. But part of that, I kind of bookended it with some travel. But it's amazingly remote. It is crazy. So during that sabbatical, I decided I wanted to focus on more conservation development.
Okay.
So hooked up with one of my clients out of Durham, who was working in Boone and so forth. And we were figuring out what parts of the property we can conserve and then do small limited development around it. And there's some great examples of that around Drover's Road Preserve is a good one, where they put little selective home sites and then big community conservation areas and so forth. And during that 10-year, I was fortunate enough to meet Jeff Stewart, team leader at our Keller Williams office, and obviously my team leader with our team while we were pursuing a real estate marketing company or concept for unique properties. So he kind of sat as an advisement board. And at the time when we were doing the conservation consulting work, we we helped conserve about 45,000 acres.
Oh, wow.
With one land buyer.
Really?
So he's a software developer out of the Triangle, and his goal was to grab as much, grab as much land as he can. A lot of these areas are now state parks, down in like South Mountains and so forth. So just from development to conservation to now brokerage with Broker Asheville team. Been there for 5 years. And now currently sit on the board of directors the agent leadership council for Keller Williams office.
Yeah. So you said you've been with Broker Asheville for 5 years, right?
Yep.
And has that been the whole time you've been an agent?
Whole time I've been an agent. Yep.
What happened to make? I mean, it sounds like you had a good thing going, and then made a shift. What moved you into the world of residential real estate?
I like the acquisition side. So when we were doing all this acquisition, it was really rewarding.
Yeah.
And when that client was transitioning, he's like, "Hey, land prices are getting higher." I was already using my, I was going after my brokerage license, and had always been interested in brokerage, and come to find out that after joining Keller Williams, so much of it is just the team that surrounds you and the mindset of the people and the personal growth and betterment that you have with the team and everyone else. It was like, wow, this is so much more than just real estate brokerage, and it was just a natural fit. Yeah.
Curious to know, 5 years, we have people who listen to us from all over and experience levels. Any things that have really resonated from your 5 years in, as far as that you found that have been helpful, or things you're like, man, I wish I would have known this in year one?
Oh, gosh,
and then we'll move over to the family reunion. But just
from a brokerage standpoint?
Just from or anything. It doesn't have to be just anything that's been impactful or worth sitting on.
I think so much of it is having the mindset for growth. Like, if you go into real estate brokerage, and that's the trouble. Like, when you go get your license, you're like, hey, you're going to sell a bunch of houses, and there's no concept of like how you start your own business, because essentially you're starting your own business, unless you join a team like I did, and a lot of that business was there. But if you're going out as a single agent, you've got to be really thinking about this, like, how do I build my brand? How do I do my marketing? How do I set myself apart? How do I just learn how to generate leads? It's not just like, oh, I'm going to pay Zillow, $1,500 a month, and magically I'm going to get all these people that want to buy houses from me. It's more about that personal connection and reaching out to your sphere and your tribe of people. So that was my biggest aha, because you can kind of burn through that pretty quick in your first years. Like, all the people it's like, oh, my mom bought a house and my two friends, and then that kind of goes away.
Yeah, your normal social circle is going to evaporate pretty quickly, as far as not everybody's buying a house all at the same time.
Yeah, and just be prepared for, when you enter the business, it's going to be 3 to 6 months before you see a paycheck, and you've got to be able to absorb that.
It's a long runway.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, let's talk about the family reunion. Yeah. I know you and I chatted a little bit about all the different things we could talk about, and I think it'd be beneficial to just, you were there, whatever you're excited about, or kind of some of the major takeaways that you think we should chat about. That'd be great. Personally, love to know any updates on any of the iBuyer stuff that's happening. But I mean, we can tackle that at the beginning or at the end. Yeah. Either way, so I'll let you kind of just take the floor, and we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like I said, family reunion. There's only about 5 places in the country that can literally accommodate the size of this convention, right? Yeah. So it's 3 days of just full sessions from 7:30 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, led by obviously the CEO of the company, the head of technology, amazing agents from all over the world, all different production levels, and the striking thing, or the striking theme I heard this family reunion Obviously, one was technology, and two was mindset around the business. So a year ago, Keller Williams launched what's called Keller Williams Command. And that is a ground up, from the ground up creation of the agent portal, which basically replaces all of what they call bolt-on technology. So if you're an agent, you might have a CRM, you might have a marketing platform, you might have like Facebook, you might have
just like all the different
things that
pieces,
you pay for, as and that stuff just adds up, and it's not really integrated. So you're kind of fighting all of these different systems and choosing which one might work for you to work. So a year ago, they launched an artificial intelligence module, Kelly, and then Command was launched to labs, which is like their internal testing, like agents testing it, and then it was released to the agents. It had limited functionality or limited modules, but the exciting thing is that it was evolving. So that day that you would sign in, that's the worst it was ever going to be. So the next day got better, and the next day got better, and the next day got better. So every week they would be releasing new things or fixing things and getting feedback from all the agents that are using it. And at this family reunion, they literally turned the switch and opened up like 200% more capability to the agents. And that's everything from an integrated CRM, a sales pipeline tool where you can take your contact and move it through the sales
almost like a project
pipeline.
management then almost, right?
Yeah. And so you can kind of track your income as it's moving along. It automates with like different checklists. So if they go from they're a nurture buyer to they're coming in town and they're set for an appointment, it triggers a bunch of things. It's fully integrated with Facebook marketing, so I can actually design something in the system for like a really cool social post. Like a graphics program. Instead of using like Photoshop or
you can do it all inside.
You can do it all inside, and then you say, I want to target Miami, Florida, 20 miles of Florida, in an age group of 18 to 36 with this ad, and I want to run for 10 days. Here you go. So it runs through Facebook, Instagram, all integrated. You can design mailers.
So it's very robust.
It's very robust, and that's just the back end. And then they released the app. So the new Keller Williams app just updated, which is personalized to the agent. So this is not like I've got the Zillow app, I'm just browsing stuff. This is a branded app for individual agents where I can send to you, I'm now your agent, and you're in direct connection with me. Like, hey, I saw this house, tell me more. So I'm seeing what collections they're making, what things they're seeing, and then we're communicating directly.
That must make it so much easier on the agent side and on somebody who's either buyer or selling, because your communication is like very easy to find, and you know where to go. It's all
it is, and it allows it's less what they called real estate friction, right? So the friction in a transaction is the unknowns or those extra steps, right? So when you're under contract and you're like, oh, what about this? What about the inspection? What about the due diligence?
Boom, boom, boom.
To reduce that friction just allows for things to be smoother.
Do you have a favorite feature yet?
The favorite
so far?
feature I have is they took in the app, you're familiar with Nextdoor, right? So all this different neighborhoods with Nextdoor. They actually have neighborhood statistics and real neighbor profiles of that neighborhood. So I can go, hey, Kelly, give me a snap for Haw Creek. And it'll give me all the statistics for the next door neighborhood of Haw Creek and tell me why I should move there. So it's like, oh, it's close to nature and it's great schools. That's stuff that Zillow doesn't have, right? It's that personal touch of really hyper local
feel.
And they could kind of compare and click around and say, oh, well, how's Oakley different than Hawk Creek, or Montford different than West Asheville? And someone who's never been here can explore those things. And
makes it a lot easier to sort through options, right?
Yeah, and it takes a little bit less off of me that they can explore. So
it's not a bad thing both ways then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so what else happened? You said having there's a lot of growth, or mental mindset. Conversations, mindset, and just kind of exploring that. Why do you any idea why that was such a major talking point? Or
so what, technology is great, right? It automates our life, it automates communication, but we lose that personal connection, right? So technology is kind of working in the past, like artificial intelligence is. It's all working in the past. It's all statistics, but it's kind of like looking forward. But technology doesn't have empathy. So the mindset around staying close to your clients and being first to mind is making those personal connections. So we talked a lot about how do we enhance that as an agent when we're generating business from new clients to past clients, and so much of our business at Broker Asheville is we come from contribution. So it's not just buying a house. It's making your life better, right? And that could be just call me for anything you need. It's like, hey, I need a plumber. I need a painter. Like, tell me what doctor's good to go to. I just moved here. How can I help?
Right.
So that theme that we are, as our team, how we operate was a clear focus on the mindset of an agent going into a technology-based. Right. Technology is getting bigger and bigger, but they wanted to say, make those personal connections with your clients and your past clients. Yeah. Because that's what, in a lot of ways, is going to bring you more business.
Right. Just so using the technology as a tool to strengthen the relationships, not as an excuse to not have to dive deep. Right.
Yes.
Technology
absolutely.
doesn't replace the personal feel. Right.
Right. And you asked a little bit about iBuyer and things like that.
Well, that's what I was about to dive into a little bit, because Keller has their own iBuyer program, right? Or
something like that. Yeah. So they are getting into that. I personally didn't focus on it because I don't see it coming to Asheville anytime soon. Yeah. The feedback has been it could make a transaction easy, but you're not going to get the most amount of money. And Keller is also launching what's called Keller Concierge, and that's a program where agents and this is still in its infancy, but they'll actually be a lending entity for people that need to do fix-up to get higher value on your home. So it's say, hey, you need $10,000 of new carpet and paint and things like that to get a better.
Here you go.
Yeah, and so here you go. It's going to be 10% interest. Right. And we're going to get that back at closing, but we're invested in the process of this. So,
wow, that's those are some big things.
Yeah, and so, but the iBuyer, again, I haven't focused on it personally because
But it's coming then, right? So the rumors are definitely true. Things are happening in that front.
Things are happening. I think it's going to be in some of the larger metropolitan areas.
With all of our cookie cutter neighborhoods here.
Oh yeah, exactly. I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's such a localized market. But from what I know about the market and the interest in it, there's so many. Every time we top a list or get a flight from our airport, so many more people are just opening up new markets. Yeah.
What anything else on the technology? I was going to ask you, I'm sure you guys talked about the market in general and what's happening. Before we move to that, anything on the technology side that might be worth touching on? Or?
I would just say from what I know about the technology and just, again, coming from contribution, is if you are an agent at another company or just starting out, really, come talk with us, because these resources are industry-shattering resources that are available to people. And it's all of these are free. As an agent, these are free for you. Millions and millions of dollars have been invested in this. I've been using it as my CRM and my platform for my business since mid last year. And so I've been transitioning into knowing this launch was happening in February, and it's made things immensely different. It's changed my business. So, but the app, I'll share a link to the app so people can download it. Give me feedback. Tell us what's broke, because we're still like the day you use it. The day you use it is the worst it's ever going to be. So we want that feedback from people to know about it. But we hope it's a Zillow killer. I mean, that's really what
is that possible?
I think it is. Yeah. I think it is.
Zillow replaced something, right? I guess. So
yeah.
Something can replace Zillow. It just seems like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we've learned some things. It just feels
a little hard to imagine at this point, right? To be like, wow, real estate without Zillow.
Real estate without Zillow. Well, I mean, if a consumer knew the real reason that Zillow was in business is to sell them their information to agents, and then get hounded on the phone and
all of those good things.
Yeah, all those good. But we did learn. I mean, Keller Williams did learn things from Zillow, and it's like we changed the look and feel of what people want, and now it's a simple like, tell me what you're looking for, and it's just a cool picture and an address, and tell me where you want to. Same thing with Airbnb. So those platforms have taught us things,
right?
But what Zillow lacks is the one-on-one customer focus concierge level that this will provide.
That's I have only been like, Zillow's always been around for me, so I'm sure people who remember like real estate pre-Zillow would have a different perspective on it. Just sometimes it's like, wow, it's crazy, but either way. So what's happening in the market? Did you guys get into that? I mean, it's been a long, good run.
It has.
Did they have any opinions on what may or may not happen?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, the long and short of it is at a national level, it's flat.
Okay.
So things at like 2017, 2018, it's pretty much flat. I mean, last year home sales, it was kind of slow in the first 12 months, and then things dramatically picked up the last 6 months.
Right.
And we saw that kind of average things out last year. Median home sales nationwide are about 4.8%, which is very healthy. And that's healthy growth. So that's kind of sustained itself since 2011.
Okay.
Annual appreciation, again, that 4.8%, that's healthy. And months of supply, again, it nationwide declined the last 6 months, but and we saw it in our market, dramatic shift in inventory.
Yeah.
We had a warm winter. When I've seen a warm winter, spring picks up a little bit sooner. Visitors start coming, the bulbs at the Biltmore, all that stuff. So leaf on to leaf off season here for us is key. But I think that's going to pick up in springtime. My perception, just the way that agents have been very busy, is going to only continue this spring.
Okay.
And we're in a shortage of new listings, I think, that are reasonably priced. And we were talking earlier, it's like the ones that are just slightly below, if you think you found a deal, there's going to be multiple offers, right? What was interesting when Gary Keller did his vision speech is Keller Cloud, which is the artificial intelligence behind the app, behind all of our back-end stuff, tracked buyers and sellers markets, right? So they're taking all of this data and analyzing it. And Miami, Tampa, and Orlando, which are big markets for Asheville, are either in a buyer's market or are shifting from a seller's market to a buyer's market.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if that's somewhat like climate oriented or if it's just people getting tired of the climate, but that's typically when I work with buyers, they're like, we're tired of the climate. It's just hot. I mean, last summer was so hot. So that shift, that seems to be happening there. Mortgage rates record lows with coronavirus fears and so forth. I just refinanced a property. I was like, yes, let's do it. New home sales are slow. I mean, they've just kind of
Plateaued?
Yeah, they've plateaued, but they've gone up slightly.
Yeah.
But slightly above like 2017, a little bit. 2018 was a little bit better.
Yeah.
But overall, and I think here locally, we need more. We need
Inventory
more affordable new construction, and that's tough.
Possible though, right? So we've had this conversation so often on the show about solutions or options and how and why and when, and it just feels like building is not. It's hard to make it work that way just because of the price of land more than anything else.
And from what I've been hearing from builders is that material costs are rising dramatically. So it hard if you're just pinching your budget, it's hard. Like Masonite doors went up like 25 or 50%, and concrete costs. And it's like, well, it's hard to not
make it work on that.
Yeah. But and the bigger tract home builders are having trouble getting a foothold here because of land prices. Right. The D.R. Hortons and
what do you do, right?
Yeah, and it's like site costs just kill them.
Yeah.
I think I've seen more clients who are interested in doing modular, and personally, I think there's an opportunity to do really cool modern uber modern modular that I think our market would accept, that we don't really see. It's not just let's just do a single slant roof and but let's do something,
give it a little bit
different. It could be flat, but I'm seeing that trend in more luxury.
Interesting. With modulars?
No, with like the flat box type, like Sovereign Oaks, for instance. There's like 4 or 5 luxury builds going on there that are just like the super boxy,
super clean, whatever
dwell type magazine type thing that some of the local architects here are doing. But I can see that trend translating maybe into something more affordable. But in general,
positive outlook then.
Positive outlook. I think for us locally, I think we're going to buck the trend from what we see nationwide because we're such a destination.
Yeah.
And everyone that visits here tells 10 friends, and they come and visit. And
they tell 10 friends. And
it
grows.
Yeah.
On that note, quick, I don't know if it's you don't know where you're about to go with it, but with the buyers that you guys work with, how do you have a feel for what the ratios for, in town and out of town? And I don't know if that's something that's information you guys are share or not share, et cetera, but
it's more of a gut. I would say about 75% of my buyers are from out of town.
Really?
Yeah.
And do they buy remotely, or do they come and just get a hotel room for a weekend and make a decision quickly then?
So the typical buyer profile is someone who's visited a few times.
Yeah.
And they've contemplated moving here, retiring here, change of life, and they'll do what we call scouting trips. So I always ask them, is this a scouting trip or is this a buying trip? And most of the time they'll come 1 or 2 times and kind of scout some different areas.
Just get a feel for things.
Kind of get a feel for things. We always say, go to Black Mountain, go to Asheville, go to Weaver. Do some of this on your own and really feel where you want to be. And then they'll usually come back. We'll trade some things. They'll come back once or twice. But I've had a lot of folks come in town that have been literally looking online for months and years, and they're like, we're coming in town. We want to see this house. We're super excited. And it'll be the first or second house we see, and they'll put an offer on it.
Wow.
But a lot from Florida. We're seeing a lot from California, Northeast, Ohio, your typical spots. But the Keller Command has just launched a referral tracker. So our top 5 cities for referrals, for agent-to-agent referrals, number 1, Greenville, number 2, Charlotte, Raleigh, Fort Mill, and Johnson City.
Oh, so it's relatively
close. It's relatively local. But those are just referrals. These aren't just the overall market. But interestingly enough, So yeah, most of the people are kind of coming from out of town.
Huh.
But places where, like if you're coming from California, you're going to spend probably twice as much as what you're going to pay for in Asheville.
Right.
So that props up our market even further.
Yeah, because of all the other markets are
Yeah.
more expensive markets or whatnot. Yeah.
And they don't think twice about it.
Right. They're like, oh, this is so cheap.
This is amazing. And I could get 5 acres out in Riceville. And they're just shocked at what they can get here. So,
well, man, I know we've been all over the place, but anything you want to kind of wrap up on that we haven't touched on that you think it's important to cover?
That's a big question.
It is.
Yeah.
Or, if not, like, what's the best way for somebody to get connected with you?
I would just say from folks that are looking to move here, because so many of them do live here, is to definitely connect with an agent before your visit. Have those conversations about what your dreams are, right? Because most people are moving here for a change of life. And so often I start that conversation with buyers and say, tell me what are your dreams? What do you really want to do here? Because this isn't a real estate transaction. This is your your new life that's happening. So let's really dig deep into that and take the time and find someone that can really understand that and willing to kind of peel back the onion, because that's really going to help you as someone moving here find that, because we can provide everything. We can provide a great urban existence
Whatever
here. You could be 40 minutes out and not see anyone for 10 years. So but really soul search and really have some of that profile, what you're looking for, and then be open to share that with your agent, because that's really I always start the conversations like this isn't a real estate move. This is a life move, and Asheville is such a lifestyle city that you can be and do anything you want here, and it's just finding the right place for that.
So it just sounds like being overly honest with the what and the why.
Yeah, and if your agent isn't asking you those questions, they're just like, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Montford. It's like that's not going to get you to where you
might not know what you actually want.
Right.
Especially if you haven't lived here.
Right.
So that's a really good tip. I was wondering if maybe we can get 1 or 2 more from you so we can make it 3 nuggets if you're a prospective buyer. One is be super honest with your agent. Be super
honest,
aggressively so. 2 more.
2 more. So most agents in Asheville serve an hour radius. I serve an hour radius of Asheville. That's a big area.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why we say, hey, let's drill down into that. I'd say connect with a great lender. Kind of get a lot of that financial stuff out of the way. Get pre-qualified, because we want to set you up for success. So the worst thing we could do is go show you a house
that you fall in love
with, and you can't move on it right then, because you may have to. Right. So just getting a lot of that stuff, and your agent will help you out with that. And then thirdly is I get a lot of requests about short-term rentals. And that's just a huge hot button here in Asheville.
It is.
If you're looking at doing it, the city of Asheville, stuff at city of Asheville is just, it's fluid. And that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we've had whole podcasts just on that topic. So
really, if that's really your goal, I would say talk really succinctly about it's a business. It's the hospitality business. And so if you really want to get into that, you really need to know exactly what that is and where you can do it, and what things make that a successful business. And a lot of that's just location, something unique, and there's just a lot of competition out there. I have an Airbnb myself, so it's it's a whole nother business, right? So
no doubt.
But really,
well, those are 3 really good tips, right? It's so be super honest, get your finances squared away, and if you are looking at doing something that's not your primary, make sure that you can do what it is that you're looking to do, right? Short-term rental or otherwise.
Right.
Well, Bret, where do people connect with you? Thanks for all the information.
Yeah, absolutely. Best way to get a hold of me is I'll share my email links and so forth. I'll give you a link to the app as well, so you can play around with that and use it. It's a great tool. Bret at Broker Asheville, Bret with one T, B-R-E-T, at brokerasheville.com. And my phone number, which I'll share. Do you want that written?
No, you can just speak either way.
Yeah, no,
it's
828-335-3499. That's my phone number. Call or text me. And literally, like I said, I come from contribution, so no question is off limits. We're here to help.
Right.
And we're not in this business. Someone made the great analogy at family reunion is like when you're an agent that isn't working for the transaction, and they're not working like with the mindset of paying their car loan at the end of the month by helping you buy this house, it's a whole different mindset. And so it's like when you're in a business and you're just coming from contribution just to literally just help people do the best they can, get the best deal, have the best life, is really why we're doing what we do.
Awesome. Bret, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.